Hi lovelies, my name is Jessica and welcome to Makeup Misfit. And for today's video, as you can see by the title, it's a little bit different, but I'm going to be doing my eyeshadow palette retirees. Now, these are palettes that I have already selected out of my collection, which is all hanging out back here. This is a bookcase that I would like to get books back onto, but I don't have anywhere else to display my eyeshadows right now, and I use these acrylic displays that I really like because it's so much easier to see what they are. Let me actually go grab one. Okay, so this is what I display my eyeshadow palettes in, and I can fit 3 to 4 of these on a bookshelf. And I really like them because, like I said, you can easily just see what you have in here. They're not stacked on top of each other. You're not trying to dig through them and see what you have underneath everything else. However, even though I want to get books on here, right now, like I said, my eyeshadow palettes are on here, and there are some that I do want to pick up. Now, I really haven't been buying eyeshadow this year at all. I bought a few blushes and obviously my staple products like my concealers and powders and foundations and that kind of stuff. But as for eyeshadow palettes, besides the Nouveau palette from ABH that I bought during a Sephora sale, they had like 50% off or something like that. I really don't know if I even bought anything at the beginning of this year. I must have for like my birthday back in March, but I couldn't tell you what that was. But I did recently buy an eyeshadow palette from a brand that I'm really excited to try. I'm not going to tell you guys which one it is just yet. I am waiting for it in the mail, but I am really excited about it. And people have been starting to post their eyeshadow palette collection and declutter videos, and I am seeing some things and I was like, oh, just this brand alone, not necessarily the eyeshadow palettes, but the brands. And I'm like kind of getting back into wanting things. I haven't posted on here, or I went a while without posting on here, and I also went a long while without watching any makeup videos. And it really just like deterred me from wanting anything because I didn't see it. So I didn't know about it. And it passed me. I didn't think about it. It was great. My focus was on books, which I need to put that to rest. So I'm kind of back to the makeup right now. And there are some eyeshadow palettes that I do want to buy. I want them, hopefully end of this year, beginning of next year. Not all of them, but a couple of them would be nice. Excluding the one that I'm waiting for. So I do need to make room on here for those as well. So the eyeshadow palettes that I have decided to put into this Makeup Memories box, I have sitting here with me right now. We're not going to do a collection video. I'm just going to pick and choose as I go. I may have mentioned this already before, but I'm going to go through them with you guys. I'm going to kind of explain why they are holding a memory, why they're going into this box, and we're just going to take it from there. So, okay, first and foremost, my Essence, my rose will go on. I did have this, I've used this in one project to hit pan on one shade, which I actually just had to repress, which was this one right here, because it had pan, but it absolutely crumbled everywhere. So you see I had to repress that. I have not used any other shade in this palette. My plan is to purchase a second one and actually use it. This one I bought as soon as it came out. And when I did that, I didn't go into detail as to why I was purchasing it, but I did explain that I was purchasing this for sentimental reasons. And earlier this year when I pulled this into whatever project it was in, I said it's probably time that I actually reach for it and I start to use it, and I can always go grab another one and put that one off to the side for these reasons. And then I used this, and I'm at the point right now where I'd rather keep this one off to the side because this was the intention of buying this palette. And just buy another one to use if I really want to. The colors are very pretty. They're, of course, not exactly what is shown on the back, which was everybody's complaint when these palettes first came out. And it would have been nice if it was. But the name of the palette, the song that it's based off of, sentimental reasons, I'm not going to get into details, but it is in memory of somebody. So I'm going to put this into this box before I start to cry right now. And maybe one day pick up a second one and actually like feel like I can use that one. Not that I feel like I can't use this one anymore, but I would just much rather have like the intended purpose for this palette to like stay with there. I did use it a little bit. That's good enough. It's not pristine, which is perfectly okay with me. I know that person would have been like, just use it, but I think I'm gonna, okay. Hold yourself together, girl. I think it's time. I'm just gonna put this away. And when I do purchase another one, I'll use that. Okay. Before I actually start crying, because it's like, give me 1 second. Okay. I'm all right. I promise I'll be okay. Okay. On to the next one. I have this Tarte, the foil finger paints, and this was the very first one that they came out with. Now, I really don't ever reach for this at all. Like, I had reached for this lighter champagne shade a lot. You can see like it's a lot more flat. This one's a flat in the center. This one I didn't reach for too much because I found it was a little bit too dark. This one does have pan, and I was reaching for this one a little bit, but not a whole lot when I would reach for the glitter. But again, at that point, I didn't really know how to wear glitter or anything like that, but I just really liked this glitter shade, so I wore that one. But this one, I pulled it out because I think I had it in a box to actually get rid of and declutter. But then I was like, oh, but the packaging is so pretty. And I really did like this when I used it. And I just swatched it the other day. It is still super pigmented, very pretty. I really like this. But I think like I'm never going to reach for it. Even though it's sitting out in my makeup collection, I look at it and I'm like, it's kind of just for like display purposes. Obviously, I can reach for it and use it if and when I want to. But I just really haven't. And if I've had this sitting in a box, pulled it out, and I still haven't reached for it, and it's been in that box for who knows how long at this point, I think it's time to actually put this away. It is very pretty, but I don't need to have display purpose makeup when I'm trying to make space for more palettes that I want, and eventually, like I said, more books to actually go back onto here and maybe find another way to display my eyeshadow palettes that I can actually still use these, because I don't want to get rid of them and I don't want to throw them in a drawer where I'm like having to stack things on top of each other. So the next palette, I wanted this so badly when it came out, and I remember it going on sale. I don't know if it was clearance, but it was on sale for half off. So it was like $7 back when ColourPop's palettes were, you know, around that price range. And I really, really wanted this Low Ray of Sunshine palette. I have had this in a project before, and this is what mine's currently looking like. It's a little bit different, but I'll get into that in a second. This is the shade right here that I managed to hit pan on. You can see there's actually 3 little pans. But this was an all matte palette, and as much as I really liked the color story and thought I was going to use this, I haven't. And I have not reached for it since I actually hit pan in here, which was probably a couple of years ago at this point. These shades right here are actually Pat McGrath shades, and these came from those little mini 5-pan palettes. They were like plastic packaging. I know there was like 2. There was a colorful one, and then there was more neutral one. I had the neutral one. I depotted and got rid of the red and like the green shade. I think both of those shades are in a palette that I actually have. So I was like, I don't need duplicates of them, but I really liked these ones and I wanted to keep them, but have somewhere for them. And then when I found out that they fit in these little palettes, I thought that it went with the color story very well. So I put them in here. Have I reached for them? No. So with this, I do want to actually take these out and figure out a way to use them, figure out where to put them. I do have some clear eyeshadow palettes, like empty ones, coming to me so that I can take my singles and rearrange them in those palettes, just because it's much easier to see. My Glaminatrix Nearly Naturals palette, when I had bought the shadow bundle, that's what that's in. So you guys have seen that before. I will do a video when I get those and like, you know, you guys can see everything. But these pans are too small for that. So I don't know what I'm gonna do. I do want to take those out, but I think for now I'm just gonna throw this whole palette into my memories box just because it's a palette that I really, really wanted. I did enjoy using it when I was reaching for it, but it's just not something that I ever even think about. And then when I do, I'm just like, no, I don't want to use it. One of my plans was to actually like depot this, cut out the center and make this into a empty magnetic palette, but I don't think I'm ever even gonna do that. Maybe one day I'll actually get that ambitious and do it, but for right now, I'm just going to retire it from my collection, throw it into my memories box, and then hopefully figure out what I can do with these shades here because, or which one? This one, and this one, because I really do actually want to use them. But because they're in this palette and I never really think about the palette, those Pat McGrath shades just completely like leave my mind. So if I can find somewhere to put these, because like I said, those new magnetic palettes that are coming to me, they're going to be too small for that. If I can somehow create something, put them somewhere so I can see them a little bit better, then maybe I will actually reach for them a little bit more and get some usage on them. But this palette right now, we're just going to put it off to the side. Now, another ColourPop palette that I bought the moment it was released. The one and only palette, sorry, I'm sitting cross-legged, it hurts. The one and only palette I have ever purchased from any brand. The moment that it was released, it was like 1 o'clock, someday during the week. I was at work. I was like, refresh in my cart, check out, bought it, done. The Lizzie McGuire What Dreams Are Made of palette. Like, Lizzie McGuire and me, yeah, childhood, like best thing ever. Like I needed this palette like you would not believe. I have this, or I had this in a project I completely finished off. Yeah, the shade right here, a very pretty pink shimmer. I have a dip going on in this one. I hit pan in here. I believe I had this shade or this shade or maybe both in a project and I never reached for it. And I look at this palette and I think it's beautiful, but I'm not a big fan of the ColourPop formula. Like, I think it's fine. It's good. It works. I like it, but it's not something that I'm going to like go out of my way for. I've been looking at some other palettes, but I'm just like nothing really, sorry, my bangs are driving me nuts. Nothing really appeals to me. Like I had the Going Coconuts palette and I really liked it, but there's just something about the matte formula that I'm like, it's good, but I'm not dying over it. And I think like, I just don't ever consider reaching for ColourPop as much as I love and adore not just Lizzie McGuire, but even the color story is super cute. It's very like 2000s. It is very Lizzie McGuire. I absolutely love it. But I think that this is best to be put into my makeup memory box because just this alone. And I have even debated buying the Sailor Moon palettes knowing that I'm probably never going to reach for them and actually use them. I would in the beginning just to like try it out, but like I'm still half debating purchasing those, knowing that I don't really want to reach for ColourPop shadows. They're shimmers, they're Super Shock shadow formula. I have never actually had a single. I wouldn't mind trying one, but I think it was like one of the shades in the Going Coconuts palette, my absolute favorite. Like I love that shade so much. I would probably buy a palette of like those. So ColourPop. It's not a bad idea, but I don't think that this is something that I'm going to reach for. I love seeing it in my collection. It makes me happy. I can always dip into this box and pull it out and just like have that joy, but it's not something that I'm going to reach for. I just know that. And if at some point I feel like, you know, I do want to use something in here for some reason, like I want to reach for the shade, I have considered finishing off the shade before I threw it in here, but there's a few shades that I would like actually want to use, but knowing that I don't ever actually reach for it, I think it's time to just put it aside, make space for palettes that I know I'm going to use, but I'm never getting rid of this baby. This is like me. I love it. My favorite thing ever. This next one you guys have actually seen recently because I do have it in a project. So when that project update rolls around later this month, we will chat about it then. but this is my Tartelette Toasted palette. You guys have heard me talk about this, how it has been the palette that like got me onto warm tone shadows, and I love warm toned eyeshadows. Sorry, my phone cut me off. Anyways, as I was saying, the Tartelette Toasted palette, I do like the color story in here, but I just know if I haven't reached for it, I'm not going to. The goal that I had set for myself in the project was just to try and reach for it, and I haven't even done that. So I think it's time to accept that I'm not going to reach for this. I still cannot actually let this go, but because this is, as I said, what got me into the warm tones, I figured Makeup Memory Box was a much better option than actually decluttering this palette. I really haven't had it for very long, but it's time. I have two more, and they are both by the same brand, so I'm going to show them together. They are by Lethal Cosmetics, and when these palettes went on sale, and I think I got them in a bundle, so they were discounted in a bundle, but I think they went on sale individually, and I got them cheaper that way. This was the one palette that I was so excited for, because this was like the 90s palette that I was just like, yes, please. I love the color story. I think it is so fun. It is so bright. It is so colorful. I love it. I love it, but I don't reach for it. And I don't know if it's just Lethal Cosmetics formula or what it is. Some of the shimmers, like, I know I haven't swatched anything, but it's harder to see with this lighting. Like, this is pretty. I do like their shimmers. I, wanted to do some of those build your own palettes, but I just never did because they would be like $300. And I did have this one in a project, and I wore away the embossment a little bit on that shadow, but it's just not something that I'm ever actually reaching for. And like, they're very pretty, but I look at them and I'm just like, I don't want to use it. Especially this one, even though this shimmer right here in the center, without realizing it, sorry, my face is so itchy right now. Without realizing it, when I was doing those like build your own palettes, I had thrown that shadow into one of those a few times. And then I realized afterwards that it was actually in this palette. So I could always just dip into this, depot it, do whatever. I think I might eventually do that. But for now, I did not want to actually let go of the color stories and the layout of the palette. There was one time, I think I may have actually deleted the photo, but I went through and I swatched a bunch of these, and it made a really pretty color story. I'm pretty sure I did depot them. I had put them into a magnetic palette, but I just put them back in here because I was like, what was the point? I still didn't reach for them. They are a little bit too dark, a little bit too, not dingy, but just like not something that I'm going to want to reach for. And then this one, as fun and bright and colorful as it is, and as much as I love it, it's just something that I'm, again, not really reaching for. I do love colorful eyeshadows. Like, even though I've been doing a lot of neutrals lately, and that's kind of what I'm gearing towards, when I first started doing makeup, like wearing makeup back when I was like 17, I think it was, 16, 17, colorful eyeshadow is what I went for. I wasn't doing the neutrals. I was doing the colors. I started off with colorful eyeshadow. It was CoverGirl, so it wasn't extremely colorful, especially back then, but it was just like, color is what got me into it. Like, that's how I got started with makeup. It wasn't these neutral shades. But sometimes, like, I just find it's easier, it's just simpler. And I kept the sleeves on this one because I actually have the names on the back of the things, the sleeves. So that's why I kept these. But these are my only two Lethal palettes, and because I don't reach for either of them, I don't plan on actually purchasing any other Lethal cosmetic palettes. Nothing has even like really grabbed my attention. I honestly haven't been paying too much attention to it either. So I think that for now anyways, these are going to go into the memory box because I can't let these palettes go either. And if I ever really want to, like, they're still good eyeshadows. It's not that they're extremely old and I shouldn't be using them anymore. It's just I want to try and make room on this bad boy right here for the palettes that I really do want right now. I really wanted these at a time, and because I just know that I'm not reaching for them, if I want to, I still have that option too. I can go into this box and take it out and use a shadow. It's not retiring it for, it might come back to work once in a while. She's retired, but she might be semi-retired at some point. She might never actually be retired, but say she's retired, because I know one of those. But anyway, that's a whole other topic. But these palettes, just because they're being retired, they can come out of retirement. They're not dead, they're not gone, they're not whatever. They're just being put away in a different area for now, because I'm not reaching for them, but I don't want to get rid of them. So like I said in the beginning, I just think that the memory box is a better option than actually decluttering something and eventually regretting it, because I know that these palettes I'm going to regret getting rid of. That's why I haven't done it yet, and I'm not going to do it. And I think it's fun having a makeup memory box, because then you can go through it later and you can see what's in there. So let's actually do that before I put these in. A little bonus, if you made it this far into the video, we are actually going to go through my makeup memory box and see what's in here. Again, it's not very much because I completely forgot I had it. And I will say, I do wish that I kept some palettes and some packaging and didn't actually get rid of it and put it in here. So I am beating myself up a little bit for that, like my Viseart Midsummer palette, the Solstice palette, my ABH Soft Glam and Norvina palettes that I completely panned. All of those palettes I completely panned, and I wish they were in here, but unfortunately I got rid of them. So we are going to start off with something that when I saw this in here the other day, my heart just fluttered. I was like, oh my God, I loved this thing. I absolutely adored this palette, this Love Flush Blush palette from Too Faced. I remember being in Ulta in Duluth with my mom, and I picked this up and I loved it. This was my very first Pan That Face palette, and I was actually thinking about this semi-recently, like probably a couple of months ago, and been like, I really missed that. I did really enjoy these blushes, and I would actually like repurchase them. I don't know if they're still for sale or not, but I would definitely repurchase these blushes if it was a thing. I absolutely adored this so much. So of course this had to go in here. And then, as I mentioned, my Cover FX highlighting palette. I completely wore this baby away. It had 2 cream shades and 2 powdered shades. They were the same shade, so technically there's a powder and a cream of the same shade. We had Celestial, which was probably these ones, 1 and 3, and then a Moonlight, sorry, which was these 2. I loved this, and I was surprised as to how much usage I got on the cream shades, because I don't really use cream products, but I use these under my makeup, and I got so much use and so much love on it, and I adored this. This was old when I like started reaching for it, but everything was so fine. I still managed to, you know, wear it on my face and not break out or do anything like that, but this was just such like a sweet memory for me. Next, I'm holding on to this just pure packaging wise. It is literally all that it was. I completely finished off this trio earlier this year or last year, I want to say, probably last year, and I'm only holding on to it for the packaging because me and Studs, we just got a thing, and it's pink and I adore it, and that is never going to go anywhere. Like, my plan was even to like repress items into here. I don't know if I'm going to do that, but if I ever really wanted to, I still have the packaging to be able to do that. Then one of my absolute favorite blushes ever. You guys heard me. This was in so many different projects. My Too Faced Papa Don't Peach blush that I completely finished off. There's a very faint peach smell, but it also smells a little bit like crayon. So glad that's done, but sorry. But this was an absolute favorite. And if you've been around for a while, you know. And then last but not least, that is in here, is another face palette that I managed to finish off. And when this collection came out, I bought the whole like PR package because this collection was like the most me I had ever seen at that point. and that was the MAC and Jeremy Scott collab, and it's a CD. Like, I completely finished off the highlighter, the bronzer, and the blush in that order. The highlighter had been finished for a couple of years. I had pulled this into projects to get as much use as I possibly could. I finished off the bronzer, and I also finished off the blush. That was last year and possibly into this year. But then I was like, I can't get rid of this packaging. A CD, like, are you kidding me? Me and music and everything. This was the most me I had ever seen up at that point. And I think that was, I want to say like 2016, 2017. But I just absolutely still adore the packaging and that collab, and I still have things from it. So now that this box is empty, we are going to also put my eyeshadow palettes in here. So it's not going to be any specific, like, organized way. I'm just going to see what I can do. Try and throw these lethal ones. Just kind of trying to do this like by size, but also whatever fits, wherever it fits. Let's not put that one there. And then this last one here, we'll just throw on top. So this is kind of what she's looking like without falling all over the place. And that's my makeup memory box. So of course, like I said, I can always dip into here if I really feel like I'm craving an eyeshadow from a lethal palette, or I just see a video about a declutter and I'm like, I have that palette, I want to use it. I can dip into here. It's not the end of the world. They're just on retirement for now. And you know, people come back from retirement all the time. So you never know what's going to happen. Maybe one day you will see them in a collection video among the rest of my eyeshadow palettes. But I do think that what I will probably do is when I do a makeup collection video for my eyeshadow palettes, there's a possible chance that I might do like these at the end. If that's something that you're interested in, you would still want to see them a part of my makeup collection, even though they're going to be like retirees, let me know and I can always add that in towards the end of those videos. I'll do a little like bonus makeup memory box retiree collection at the end of like my full collection. And speaking of full collection, I am so excited for the eyeshadow palette that is coming in. I am really excited to see what else is out on the market and get back into it. Like, I really don't need all of these eyeshadows. You guys will see later on sometime next year what my collection's looking like, but there's a few palettes, a few brands that are coming out with palettes that I'm like, yes, I want this. I want to try it. I want to test the brand if I haven't yet. And some brands that I've tried that I'm like, I just really like their stuff and I want to get more of it. So we'll see where my collection ends up over the next few months or so, but that is it for now. So thank you guys so much for watching. I apologize for the little glitch in the middle of this. Like I said, my camera stopped. I ran out of room, so I had to delete a few things off of here, but that is it. That is all. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys all later. Bye.